Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Did you know that if you hold XRP, you deserve to lose everything? I know, look, I was just as shocked as the rest of you to learn this, but this sage wisdom was passed down to me from one of the most popular chart analysts in all of crypto, none other than Peter Brandt. After the dramatic market collapse today, in fact, the largest collapse, largest liquidation event in history. This particular chart analyst, again, one of the most famous chart analysts in all of crypto, says that we deserve it. Because certain levels were hit, we specifically, not market participants, XRP holders. Apparently, you listening to this deserve to lose everything, and so do I. So I'm going to push back on this toxic nonsense coming from somebody who suffers from the affliction known as XRP derangement syndrome. It's times like this that I am extra thankful that I have this platform all up on the YouTubes to push back against these garbage ideas. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, if you want a full breakdown of why this happened, all the specifics, check out my very last video. I'm not going to rehash all that stuff. You can start there first if you want to. But I will note right now, XRP, if you got broad enough perspective here, it's actually sitting pretty. So yes, XRP is down to $2.34 along with the rest of the market. This is not an XRP specific problem, very obviously. But let's add some perspective. The price of XRP before the election last year, which is obviously when XRP started rampaging to the upside, the price of XRP was 49 cents. Again, at the time I'm recording this, it's $2.34. Which means that since the election in November of last year, less than a year ago, XRP, even to this moment, is up 377%. And it's worth remembering that XRP is a very obvious winner of the crypto space. Early winner. It couldn't be more obvious. It's one of the most useful cryptos that's ever been created. It does what Bitcoin can't. It fulfills the mission of Satoshi Nakamoto in creating a peer-to-peer cash system, because transactions are so fast they're effectively real-time, and they're so cheap they might as well be free at fractions of a penny. Mission fulfilled. It turns out the market actually values that. And so even after the pullback, and we've seen a bounce to the upside, fair enough to point that out, of course, still down, but up 377% since that crucial moment. But yeah, this was absolutely a huge one. Chart analyst Zoom pointed out that liquidations hit $9.54 billion in a 24-hour period. And he said, I don't think you understand what you survived. This liquidation was bigger than Luna, FTX, and COVID. We witnessed history today. Well, I do understand that, and I talked about that a fair bit in my very last video here. And it might, look, all sorts of analysts, even the blockchain backers talking about this, once the final numbers are in, they're probably going to be revised to the upside. So don't know for sure yet, but could be a good bit bigger than that. I wanted to mention this, but please take this with a grain of salt, because I'm not seeing anyone else report this yet. But there's this headline from Crypto Briefing saying, Crypto Bloodbath sees $19 billion in leveraged positions erased. $19 billion. So, and this is one of the more recent articles, at least to this point. So if they've had more time to tally numbers and stuff's come in, maybe that could be true. But again, like I said, take it with a grain of salt, because I'm not seeing anyone else report that. But they are a reputable source within the world of crypto as far as crypto media outlets go. So I thought I'd at least mention it. Either way, whatever the real number is, even if it's 9.45 billion, that's freaking gigantic. All right, here's Peter Brandt. Here's Peter Brandt. This is his profile. 811,000 followers on X. That makes him one of the most well-known and respected chart analysts in all of crypto. 811,000 followers. And I will acknowledge, even though like this guy, this guy suffers from some serious XRP derangement syndrome. It's one of the worst cases I've ever seen, actually. And he seems to be utterly unaware of this. And that's frequently the case with these people. I mean, that is typically the case. Like they don't know they're suffering from this affliction. But he's he's got the following that he has, and it's well-deserved, outside of the XRP nonsense. And as I've noted in the past, he's most famous, and this is what really got him going in the world of crypto, when he called the peak of Bitcoin at near $20,000 in December of 2017 for that market cycle. And then about a year later, middle of December, he called the bottom at $3,200. And that kind of got him going. And now he's got a massive following here, so people do listen to him. But I got to tell you, this guy says some dumbass shit about XRP. And he has been for like the better part of a decade at this point. I'm going to share with you just a couple examples. This one aged like a fine milk. This is from February 22nd of 2021. So a couple months after the the SEC had filed their suit against Ripple, claiming that XRP itself is a security. So about a couple months after that, Peter Brandt shared this post, and he says, XRP is a security issued by Ripple Labs. Oh, Peter, my boy, that did not age well, did it? Turns out that court case came to a conclusion, and the Judge Annalisa Torres, found that XRP itself is not a security, because the asset itself is never the security, unless it falls within the definition of literally what a security is, but cryptocurrencies obviously don't, as I've covered in great detail in the past. So no, XRP in and of itself is not a security. But any asset, XRP, Bitcoin, chinchillas, this has actually happened, by the way, can be sold in such a way that they are securities. The transactions, rather, are securities, not the assets themselves. Chinchillas, I'm not making, Google it. Think I'm making that up? No. This Moon Lambo guy with a silly ass name talking about chinchillas being securities. That can't be true. No, the transactions actually were, though. I'm not making that up. That's a real thing here. So again, he got that wrong. XRP security, no, not so much. Then we have this. This is from June 5th, 2020. He says, this is a post on X. He says, are you not yet aware that XRP is a scam manipulated by bag holders? Okay. So apparently there's some sort of unique manipulation going on specifically within the XRP ecosystem because reasons. He never cites the evidence for this or the rationale for it. He just asserts it. And the truth of the matter is he hates XRP. He feels things, and this is what happens. He hates it so irrationally, he doesn't know that he suffers from the affliction known as XRP derangement syndrome. That is what he suffers from. You hate to see it, folks. You hate to see it. Here's another one, June 23rd, 2020. I might tweet about Bitcoin once or twice per year. Too many rude trolls. I will tweet about XRP because it is a manipulated scam, in my opinion. Fun to see the idiotic reply. So there we go. It's a manipulated scam making the assertion yet again. He's done this many times over the years. Never cites any evidence. Never cites how price action for XRP is markedly different from any sort of organic price action with Bitcoin or any other coin. He just irrationally hates XRP. He doesn't like the origins of it. And so therefore it's a scam, and he claims it's a security. And these are things that strike me as nonsense. Complete and utter nonsense. It makes, there's such absurd claims, it makes you wonder if he's even being intellectually honest. But that gets us to what's happened now. And please keep in mind, Peter Brandt, although and I mean this, he's genuinely great at charting. This guy has missed every single move for XRP that matters for the entirety of the history of XRP, going back over a decade. Every single big-ass move that matters for XRP ripping to the upside, he missed, including November of last year, including January when it hit an all-time high, including July of this year when it hit another all-time high. He's missed all those, and he's missed everything from inception up to that point. Everything in between he's missed. Everything. And so he posted this. This is just a few days ago, mind you. So this is October 7th. And I actually mentioned this in a video. But since he's now gloating about, what's happened, as I'll show you in just a second, I'm bringing this back up here. And so he shared this post October 7th, 3 days ago. On the left is a classic descending triangle from Edwards and McGee, showing what descending triangles are supposed to do. On the right is a developing descending triangle. Only if it closes below $2.68, then I'll be a hater. Then it should drop to $2.22, XRP. So he thinks he's not a hater of XRP right now when he says that it's a manipulated scam and that it's a security, and he has been saying that for years. He's never retracted that. He's never admitted he's wrong about any of that. There's no evidence of it being a scam. You've got some of the largest financial institutions, the banks, engaging with Ripple, which is the largest holder of XRP. All of it. So he knows it's a scam. He's convinced of that. But some of the most sophisticated market participants from traditional finance, they weren't able to figure out that XRP is a scam, but Peter Brandt knows because reasons. Peter knows it's a scam, but all these mega banks, nobody else has been able to prove it's a scam. And even the SEC, which came after Ripple and as a result XRP holders on a global scale with everything they possibly could have came against them with, even they didn't have allegations of actual fraud. There were no fraud allegations in that lawsuit. There's no scammer. This is just Peter Brandt saying stuff. And I'm pushing back against this because, again, he's one of the most well-known chart guys in all of crypto. Yeah, I'm going to push back against this nonsense because it's stupid, S-T-O-L-P-I-D, stupid. And then we had this yesterday before the market crash. He's really excited about this. He's hoping it's going to come to pass, that the XRP is going to drop. So yesterday he wrote, "This is on my list of short candidates, XRP. But it is conditional upon completing the descending triangle." And so he's made tons of posts like this over the years. He's been consistent. How is he so disastrously wrong in charting XRP when he's so good at charting everything else? Might the bias be seeping in to his analysis here? Yeah, duh. That's absolutely what's happening here. So he called for this again yesterday. And he also wrote yesterday, "XRP addicts are the most immature, unprofessional group on X. I thought silver bulls were, but XRP addicts deserve to end up broke, which they will be at the end." And so there you go, folks. You deserve to lose everything because you like a cryptocurrency. Apparently you deserve to lose literally everything because you happen to like a cryptocurrency that he irrationally does not like, and which he's been provably incorrect about, and now that years have passed. And he couldn't call any of the upside price action, even though he's actually good at charting. Isn't that something? The answer is yes, of course. Which brings us to this. This is from today after the entire crypto market collapsed. Oh, this is ridiculous. This is at 4:16 p.m. So this is about 25 minutes after the entire market had started just cratering. Not just XRP, of course. And he wrote, "Hey, XRP trolls, target reached. Profits taken while you such gas." I got a question. This is a serious question. What the fuck does that mean? While you such gas? While you such gas. S-U-C-H space G-A-S. I tell you, I remember the first time I attempted the English language. What the hell is that? I can just imagine him sitting there so eagerly tapping, I can imagine him typing so fervently that he didn't even bother to check his own several words that he wrote here before posting it to his 811,000 followers because he was so excited about it. XRP trolls, I got him. And so, yeah, XRP went down. But please, think about this, folks. Peter Brandt is pretending that his call for XRP to drop was correct, when the truth is XRP dropped due to a black swan event. This was a black swan event. Nobody saw this coming. It's not because of his superior charting skills. And he hasn't acknowledged that the entire asset class dropped at the same time. Even to this point, he still hasn't. All he's talked about, because he's got XRP on the brain here, XRP lives rent-free in his mind, he's talked about how XRP has dropped, but not the entire crypto asset class. Not Bitcoin, not other coins, at least as of the time I'm recording this. Just XRP. That is some serious XRP derangement syndrome all up in this bitch. That's what's going on right now. But he thinks it makes sense to gloat that XRP went down. This is irrational. There is no logic here. He suffers from the affliction known as XRP derangement syndrome. He just does. You hate to see it. And then there was this. Somebody wrote a nice post. This is from somebody from our community named Saint Street. Responded to him and wrote, "Hey, it's fine. Troll us. Hopefully you're still around in a few years to witness the upside the spot holders at 20 cents have." And I think that's pretty respectable, given that he's been so irrational towards us and he makes it out like he's so... he's just this harmless little guy. He makes it out like that when truthfully he's just... If you look at his comments, he wants us to fail. He will be gleeful if that happens. It's very obvious. that was, all things considered, a pretty nice post from St. Street, saying, hey, some of us have been here since it was 20 cents. Hopefully you get to see the upside. And here's what Peter Brandt said in response to that. This highlights perfectly the degree to which he suffers from XRP derangement syndrome. He wrote, probably won't be around. That's negative. He says, but leaving my family XRP is the last thing in the world they would want to inherit. What the actual fuck? This is a real human, folks. He walks amongst us. He breathes the same air that you and I breathe. And it's just great. XRP has just been, it's been the number 1 performer since the election in November out of the top 100 coins by market cap. And it's just, he wouldn't want anyone in his family to suffer the inheritance of the great worth of XRP. Oh God. Do you see how just demented this is? It's just completely ridiculous here. So, yeah, just want to take a few minutes to push back against this nonsense, because what he says, it gets circulated. Crypto media ends up writing articles about this, and you know it's going to happen here too. But yeah, you don't deserve to lose everything. And with XRP, it's performed so well. And XRP has the strongest fundamentals it's had in history, only getting stronger. The ETF stuff is coming. It's held for good reason by multiple publicly traded companies. That was supposed to be an impossible thing. That's real life too. It's just real world asset tokenization, you name it. XRP being used as a bridge currency, so many use cases. And it just works as, just in general, as payments. You can buy stuff with it. All of this, but it's supposed to go to zero. We're still told by some fringe idiots. These damn fools. And they would love for you to lose everything. And that I do find detestable. I don't like toxic Bitcoin maximalists. I don't want them to lose their entire net worth. I don't want Bitcoin to go to zero. I just acknowledge that it's the worst crypto ever created because it was the first, technologically speaking. I still appreciate it though. But these people, they don't want you to do well. It's like, it's a different type of person, and I do not respect it. So yeah, I'm going to push back against this crap on my channel. Let's hope tomorrow is a better day. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.